Hi, in this video we are going to build a simple calculator that allows you to get a handle on what's going to happen to your electricity bill when you drive a Tesla Model S. So we're going to be doing this using very realistic numbers, and we're also going to be comparing the electricity usage and the savings that you get by driving a Tesla compared to a regular gas car. So one of the first things that you're going to need to do is go to the Tesla website and scroll all the way down where you see what you see on the screen right now, which is the one of their calculators for range per charge. And we're going to be using some of these numbers here in our calculation. So what we're building is a basic calculator that allows us to get a handle on the cost per month, also savings per month and per year. So we get to see all the savings compared to a conventional ICE car. And so hopefully after this video you'll be able to get a handle on all the calculations that you need to do. This is one of the first calculators that are put together before I bought my Tesla. I'm actually getting the 90D, it's getting ready for delivery. So I thought that this would be a useful video for those that are looking to purchase a car. If you are ready to pull the trigger, just remember they have a promotion right now, and I will have the link underneath this video that you can click and you can save $1,000 of the price of the car, and in exchange for that I get some gifts, jackets, etc. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to build a model, something similar to this, and I will be explaining what each one of these calculations are and what the parameters are. So so this will be just using Excel sheet. We're going to have 3 columns dedicated to the Tesla, and then 3 columns dedicated to the Mercedes Class S. So this comparison is going to be done using the Mercedes Class S because it's on the same class as the Tesla. And I'm going to be using the 90D, which is the configuration that I purchased. Okay, so the first parameter, this first column, we're going to write some of the parameters that we're going to need. And the first one is going to be the battery size. So battery size for a 90D. That's going to be a battery of 90 kilowatt hours. So on the next column, I'm going to put the units, and that is kilowatt hours. Okay, the next parameter that we're going to need is going to be the range per full battery. Okay, so what that means is how many miles can you drive if you have your battery charged to 100%. So in order to get that number, you're going to need to go to that website, the Tesla website, and find the calculator that you see on the screen. So one of the things to realize about the Tesla is that it works the opposite of an ICE. So the faster you drive, which will be similar to highway driving, if you notice, the higher the speed, the lower the range on all the different configurations. So and then the slower you drive, the longer the range, which will be similar to city driving, right? So it's sort of the opposite. It's counterintuitive to what we're used to on an ICE. So what I'm going to do, the numbers that I'm trying to get to, I'm trying to find out what is the range that I can drive the car with 100% full battery. So the number that I'm going to use, the speed, is going to be, I believe I'm going to try to do 65 miles an hour. And I'm going to do temperature outside of 90 degrees with the AC on in 19-inch wheels. I'm getting 19 inches. 21 is actually a little bit less efficient, but I think as more standard size it's 19 inches. So if you notice, 65 miles an hour is by no means the speed that you would consider a combined city and highway. But I'm doing this because I'm trying to make this calculation very conservative, where we're trying to be more advantageous to the gas car, right? So I'm just trying to be as conservative as I can on this calculation. So this is not very advantageous for the Tesla, but those are the numbers that I'm going to use. Okay, so the next thing, so we will be using 90D, will be 285 miles. Because this calculation is going to be using multiple years, we're gonna know what the cost of the car is over several years. We have to take into consideration the capacity of the lithium-ion battery, and the Tesla loses capacity over time. So what that means is that this 285 miles, after a few years of driving, it really drops once you have your charge fully, your battery fully charged. So and it actually drops a little faster at first, and then exponentially slows down. So the number that I'm going to use 90% of this number right here. So I'm gonna say that 90% of 285 miles is what I'm gonna use for my calculator. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So that would be 285 miles, and we're gonna multiply that times 0.9 to make it 90%. So 256 miles is what I can drive with a full charge. Okay, so what can we do next? So after that, we are now ready to calculate the range per kilowatt hour. So range per kilowatt hours. Okay, so how many miles can we drive per kilowatt hours? Okay, so the way we calculate that, that's gonna be miles. So it will be your range per full battery divided by the number of kilowatt hours that you have in your battery, and that's it. So that means that we can drive 2.85 miles for every kilowatt hour that we have in that battery. Okay, then after that, we are going to calculate we're going to have a value for the electricity cost. Okay, so in order to get a handle on this number, you have to look at your utility bill. You have to look at your electricity bill and find out what they're charging you per kilowatt hour. And you always want to make sure that you get a number that is comprehensive, includes the electricity that you're buying from the vendor, and you also want to make sure that it includes the cost of delivery of that electricity to your house, right? So in my case, I live in a state that is very inexpensive, and this number is actually maybe surprising for some of you, but for me, it is 0.033. That is 3.3 cents per kilowatt hour. So that is dollars per kilowatt hour. Dollars per kilowatt hour. So that is how much I pay in electricity, and I've done all kinds of models and spreadsheets to see what my electricity bill is. And you want to make sure that you get a handle on that number. The next parameter that you want is charging efficiency. Charging efficiency, and what that means is not every little bit of charge that comes out of your wall on that outlet that is dedicated to your Tesla, right? When you buy the Tesla, you're going to be buying also installing an outlet, and so not every kilowatt hour that comes out of the wall actually makes it to the battery, if you want to think about it that way. So there is an efficiency loss that we get there, and for the Tesla, I'm going to say that is about 89%, 0.89. And so the next number that we want to calculate is the cost per mile. So cost per mile. Okay, so how much does it cost to drive 1 mile? All right, so the way we get this number is we go to the electricity cost. We're going to divide that by the range per kilowatt hour. And we're also going to divide that by the efficiency. So that's the formula right there. And that's going to be 0.01301. Okay, so that looks like it is 1.3 cents per mile. Wow, that's very low, but that's what it costs. Now, let's say that we drive, so these are the miles driven per month. So let's say that a regular person would drive somewhere around 1,000 miles in 1 month. I won't drive anywhere near that because my commute is shorter, but let's just say 1,000 average is what we drive every month. So now what is the cost per month of driving the Tesla? The cost per month is going to be the cost per mile multiply times the miles driven that month. And that brings us to this great number right here, and that is $13. Actually, I want to make sure that that's in dollars. So that is $13.01. That's the cost of driving the Tesla for one entire month. That is charging that battery approximately 4 times. And that's $13. That's a total. Okay. At this point, we can start working on the gas car. So the parameters that we want for the gas car, there will be probably a little bit more familiar. And what we're going to do for it is going to be price per gallon. I'm going to say price per gallon. And that's going to be, that changes all the time. But the price per gallon for an ICE, if you're comparing, if you're actually trying to think whether you want to buy a Tesla or a car that is within the same class, a Mercedes Class S, for example, it's likely going to use premium type of gas. So what I've done is I went and I researched what the national average is for gas is, and this is data we're looking at June 2016. So the gas is very, very inexpensive right now, but that changes over time. So instead of using premium, I'm actually going to use mid-grade just to make it even more advantageous to the gas car, right? So that to make it even harder for the Tesla. So what we'll do is that number right there was $2.60, right? Just rounding it up a little bit. So that is $2. That is dollars per gallon. Okay. Then what is the miles? Miles per gallon. Okay, so miles per gallon for the Mercedes Class S, if we look at a combined city and highway, this is a little bit less than this, but I'm going to say 22.5. So this is actually a very nice, generous number for the Mercedes. So that is 22.5 miles. So that is how many miles we can drive for every gallon. Okay, so then we can get to the cost per mile. So cost per mile, see, I think we're ready to calculate cost per mile, and that's gonna be, okay, that's gonna be that number, price per gallon. I'm gonna say divided by 22.5, yes, so that is gonna be dollars per gallon, sorry, dollars per mile. Okay, so we will be spending 11.5 miles for every mile that we drive using the ICE versus 1.3 cents. So that's the key difference between a Tesla and a gas car. Okay, so miles driven per month. So that's going to be, we're going to say that's going to be the same number here. So we're going to keep those the same. And then we are ready to calculate the cost of driving the gas car. Cost per mile. Sorry, cost per month. Cost per month. And that's going to be multiplying the cost per mile. Multiply that times the miles driven per month. And that is a very large number compared to the Tesla. That is $115. So the savings, we're going to go to the Tesla column now. The savings of driving the Tesla. So we're going to say savings. I'm going to say gas savings. It's going to be just the difference of those two numbers, right? So we're going to go to that number, subtract that right there, and that tells you that's $102 you'll be saving every month. So that's gas savings. I'm going to say this is gas savings per month. Okay, so what are the gas savings per year? Gas savings per year. Okay, well, that's going to be your gas savings per month multiplied times 12 months. So that is a nice $12.30. That is how much you'll be saving every year that you drive the Tesla. So now let's say that we years driving Tesla. So let's say that we drive the Tesla. So the Tesla is looking like we'll be able to drive it for a long time based on the data that we're getting on the batteries. Right, they're holding on pretty well. So, you know, nothing prevents us from driving 8 years, 10 years. That should be a fairly okay number. So 10 years of driving the Tesla. So years driving. So what is the total? Now we want to calculate the total savings. Total savings, right? After driving 10 years, it's going to be the gas savings per year multiplied times the number of years. So that brings us to, don't do that. That brings us to, computer just went a little crazy here. Make sure I get this right again. Well, the number that you're seeing there, I think you got a little excited here. It is 12,300. So, okay, so that is, I'm gonna make that dollars. That's it, 12,300. That's what we would be saving after driving the car for 10 years. So, okay, the next thing we can do, I'm gonna just zoom out just one little bit. The next calculation we can do is, okay, so what is the cost of the Tesla, right? So when you're getting your car delivered, so a Tesla 90D, so cost of car, so initial cost of Tesla. So for the 90D, right after you click on all the options that you like and all the things that you want, and so the car is gonna run. I will say somewhere. So I'll use the number for my car, and that came out to be about 105,200, and that's just not including taxes, but that's pretty much what that is, and that's pretty similar for most people that are driving that end up with the 90D. The P90D is, I mean, you can add 30 grand to this number. So that's the initial cost of the Tesla, and then so now what is the cost of Tesla after gas savings? So I'm gonna say cost. Let's say cost after gas savings. So cost after gas savings. Okay, let me just cost after gas savings. So that number right there is gonna be the initial cost minus the total savings for gas. Okay, so that's the price. And then if you buy the car somewhere around 2016 and probably still 2017, you're likely to get the RIF, a tax credit. That tax credit is going to go down over time, depending on the number of cars that are sold. So the savings, so let's see, cost after tax credit. The tax credit is $7,500 still in 2016 and probably sometime in 2017. So the actual price would be that number right there minus 7,500. So that is the current cost of the Tesla. Now, if you click on the link, right? So if you click on my link there. So that's another $1,000, right? So remember, if you find this video useful and you want to save $1,000, you can click on my link and get $1,000 off the price of the car, and so that will be that number minus 1,000. So that will be the final price of the Tesla. And of course, this only includes the cost of savings for gas, right? So we started, right? So what are the significant things here? We have, all right, let's take a look at here. A little bit of editing. So the things that are significant that I like to highlight include, okay, so cost per month. So that right there, right? So that's so much you'd be saving. This right here is gonna be, we're gonna highlight, let's accent that. That's gonna be the Tesla, and this is the ICE, right? So that's the ICE. So cost per month, right? So we see the difference between those two. Correct. And then we have, that's the initial cost of the Tesla. right there. That's that initial cost of the Tesla, and then the rest is what you get at the end with all the savings. Now there are other savings that include all the savings related to the repairs that you would normally incur in an ICE that you don't have on the Model S. But again, this is one of the simple calculators that you can do to get a handle on what if you're really wanting to think about what the real cost of owning and driving a Model S. So again, if you found this video useful, click on the link if you're thinking about or getting ready to buy the Tesla Model S or a Model X and save $1,000. Thank you.